Welcome to Apologetics and Prophecy, the official podcast of Calvary Solid Ground, a remnant church in Orangevale, California. I am Pastor Jed, and I will be your host as we bring you Bible studies and updates put through an apologetical and biblical lens to see just how close we are to the return of our Lord. Thank you for joining us today. Maranatha, everyone. So glad that you could join us for this Friday edition of Apologetics and Prophecy, where we're going to have a prophecy update in a minute. But I want to first share a short 2-minute commercial of a project that we are coming to the close of at our church that we want to make available for people. Before we even share the commercial, many of you that watch this, especially the YouTube people, know of Scott Townsend and the Rapture Kit. This project started with that and evolved into what we have created called an emergency guide. So here is the 2-minute commercial that we'll start the show off with today. And special thanks to Angela. Angela came to our church and took on this project, and she's put her heart and soul into it. A lot of people have helped with the input for it, but she has definitely been a blessing to us to help put this thing together. It was put together through the eyes and the mind of somebody that was left behind experiencing the horrors of the tribulation period. So we want to try to make these things available for the best possible costs that we can bring them to. We're working on that. Please be in prayer as we're coming to the end of all the editing and trying to find the right publisher. We've been in touch with people like Billy Crone and Brandon Holhouse and Jan Markell, and we're asking, for their opinions on it. And so just keep it in prayer. We're really excited about it. We're coming to the end of it, and we're going to figure out a way to make it available to you for the best price possible. We know there's a cost to print it, and that's unfortunate. We'd love to be able to just give them all away, but there is a cost behind it, and we're going to do the best that we can to make sure that everybody who wants one gets one. And so continue to pray. But today's theme for our update, our prophecy update today, is the day is at hand. The day is at hand. We cannot impress the importance. That's why we're trying to get this emergency guide done quickly. We're looking at the news, we're looking at the world, and we are seeing the convergence of things coming together so fast, and just the unbelieving world understands something's coming. We as Christians should know what is coming, and the day is at hand. That day is coming, and it is at hand, and it means that it can come at any moment. We're reminded of what the contractions that would grow closer together would look like before the end times. And we're reminded when Jesus told us in Matthew 24:6-8, and you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of sorrows, or better known as birth pangs as we know it. And of course, we had to point out that because this just the other day we had an 8.8 magnitude earthquake. The latest volcano erupts in Russia. Tsunami waves reach California. Now it turned out as far as the tsunami is not as bad as they said it could have been, but from what I understand, there was some damage done, but the waves weren't as big as they could have been. But the point is, though, is that you can't get much of a various place than this obscure place in Russia where there's all these volcanoes. If you look at the map, there's like 8 volcanoes, some of them active right there by this earthquake. And of course, it erupts right after this 8.8 earthquake, one of the largest. It says a massive magnitude 8.8 earthquake struck off Russia's Pacific coast, triggering tsunami warnings and evacuations of coastal areas in Hawaii and alerts along the United States West Coast. The intense quake, about 85 miles off the east coast of Russia's, I can't even pronounce the peninsula, was one of the most powerful earthquakes ever recorded, and the world's largest in 2011. Here, I got a little video of what it was like for a family in one of these little villages over here. Here we go. That's a 40-second video, and the earthquake had already started. They were running out of the house, and it got worse, and it was still going when the video ended. So that's a long earthquake. That ain't no joke. I've been through earthquakes before that maybe last, maybe 15 to 30 seconds, but this one 40 seconds and it's still shaking. That was an earthquake. So we're glad that it we don't really know what the damage was in Russia, but we need to thank the Lord that could have been in San Francisco or LA or someplace like that. A major metropolitan city. Can you imagine an 8.8 earthquake with the damage and destruction and death that would have happened? So God's merciful to us at the same time, showing us that he's coming soon. The day's at hand. You guys need to be ready. He's coming. And God's mercy restraining these things to places far away in various places, showing us that he's coming again soon. And of course, every week we're having the whole drama about Israel in the news. And of course, I have to deal with this right now. Canada and Malta to recognize Palestinian state, joining France and possibly Britain. And of course, we have all the people on YouTube, and we're not going to join in that crowd that's saying that in September on Rosh Hashanah or one of those Jewish holidays that they're going to sign this 7-year treaty, and it's going to be the treaty that the problem is we don't have an Antichrist. The problem is we don't have 10 kings for the Antichrist to come out of. We don't have a little horn. So you can't have a 7-year treaty. You can't get the cart before the horse. So these people that get you to click and say, oh, here it is, high watch time. It can't be a high watch time, because a treaty that it right now is, even if it was 7 years, if it isn't confirmed by the Antichrist, it is not You can't have a tribulation period. You can't have a 7-year agreement without the Antichrist. And there is no Antichrist. So it doesn't matter what these countries say. And so it says Canada and Malta announced Wednesday that they will recognize the state of Palestine in September, joining France and the United Kingdom in stepping up pressure to end the nearly 80-year Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney said the announcement after a cabinet meeting. Christopher Cutajar, the permanent secretary at Malta's foreign ministry, made his country's announcement earlier at the UN General Assembly meeting on a two-state solution to the conflict that was extended to a third day because of the high number of countries wanting to speak. So, that's what happens. But, thank goodness the United States isn't joining in this madness. Eventually we will, but for the time being, Trump threatens Canada over Palestinian state. Hard for us to make a trade deal. And so this just happened yesterday. In a post late Wednesday on Truth Social, Trump said, wow, Canada just announced that it's backing statehood for Palestine. That will make it very hard for us to make a trade deal with them. Oh, Canada. As Breitbart News had reported, Canada announced that it would join France and the United Kingdom in recognizing Palestinian statehood, despite the ongoing war that Palestinian terrorists began, despite the fact that Hamas continues to hold 50 Israeli hostages, 20 of them living, despite the lack of borders for a Palestinian state, despite the fact that the moderate Palestinian Authority is a dictatorship. Trump has dismissed calls for a Palestinian state as a reward for Hamas. The families of the Israeli hostages agree, saying that giving Palestinians a state before freeing their loved ones rewards and incentivizes terror, which it does. And it's not going to work. It just isn't. Israel isn't going anywhere. And as from when I read my Bibles, it seems that, the mountains of Israel have to be in the possession of Israel before she comes to faith in the Messiah during the tribulation period. So that would include Judea and Samaria. Those are the mountains of Israel. So, to say that they're going to become a Palestinian state, I don't think so. And I don't see it happening. So, but anyway, there's all these propaganda wars going on that's been just a nightmare. We talked about this repeatedly on this podcast about, the news biased for the war, and the propaganda is helping Hamas. And we see this in this Prophecy Newswatch article. It says propaganda wars demonizing Israel through manipulated imagery. And so it says in an era where information travels faster than ever, the deliberate misuse of images and narratives to public opinion has become a potent weapon. A recent and glaring example involves pictures of sick children from Gaza, falsely portrayed as victims of starvation caused by Israel. It's egregious that photos of ill children have been misused to depict Israel as responsible for their condition. Buffering claims that Israel is starving children when in fact their conditions are medical. One boy suffers from a serious genetic illness unrelated to the war. But had Hamas not pilfered billions in financial aid to build up a network of terror, perhaps today there would have been medical facilities in Gaza in which he could be treated. On June 12th, Israeli troops coordinated another evacuation from Gaza along with his mother and brother for treatment in Italy. So they helped him, right? This case exemplifies how fake news is crafted and disseminated to vilify Israel, exploiting vulnerable children to fuel anti-Israel narrative. The manipulation of these images is demonstrating allegations of famine in Gaza made headlines in major outlets like the New York Times, CNN, Sky News, The Guardian, Daily Mail, Daily Express, and others, just in English. It reveals a troubling pattern of media bias and the distortion of truth to demonize a nation. Even worse, it depicts a lie. And that's what we see. Here's a video that I found you have to understand this is sarcasm, but it's just showing you how even they say what we've been saying all along, that they keep trying to to cover the lies. But this is pretty good. This is really well done.
I hate to admit it, but there is almost no evidence Hamas steals humanitarian aid. Besides the UN, the BBC, the Washington Post, NPR, the United States, the Palestinian president, Palestinian rebels, Palestinian opposition, Palestinian activists, Palestinian journalists, Palestinian media, the women of Gaza, more women of Gaza, the men of Gaza, videos of the theft, more videos of the theft, more videos of the theft, and more videos of the theft. There is basically zero proof Hamas steals food from Palestinians. Just ask yourself this: why on earth would mass murdering, tyrannical, theocratic, jihadist terrorists do something so cruel? It makes no sense. Enough propaganda about Hamas. Share this message so everyone can hear the simple truth. Hamas, absolutely, definitely, in no way, shape, or form, obviously, clearly, like totally for sure, does not steal aid.
You see, that's supposed to be funny. You know, the truth is that they do steal all the aid. They're flying aid in, and Israel keeps backing off and allowing this atrocity to happen. And so we see this just continued anti-Semitism in the news. Israel is a hot topic, and that's, of course, fulfilling Bible prophecy. And, of course, this happened this last week, too, is this gunman who killed 4 in New York City building blamed NFL for mental health issues that was targeting its office. And so that's what they're saying. They couldn't come up with any other answer, so they found a piece of paper in his wallet. Just listen to this. It says, a gunman who killed 4 people inside a Manhattan office tower blamed his mental health problems on the National Football League and intended to target its headquarters, but took the wrong elevator, officials said Tuesday. Shane Tamura, a Las Vegas casino security worker, was carrying a handwritten note in his wallet that he claimed he had chronic traumatic in some kind of known as CTE. Investigators said he accused the league of hiding the dangers of brain injuries linked to contact sports. Tamura, 27, sprayed the skyscraper's lobby with bullets, then shot another person in a 33rd floor office on Monday before he killed himself, authorities said. Among the dead were a police officer, a security guard, and 2 people who worked at the companies in the building. But, of course, it might not have, we have to find anything but terrorism, right? Even though they have this map, globalize the Intifada zone of operations. If you notice, number 5 is the Blackstone building. So he was definitely going someplace. We'll never really know, but even if they know the truth, they're not going to tell us because, Islam is never to be looked at negatively in our country. So it's just one of those things. We see this continued happening. Here's another story that came out. University reaches multi-million-dollar settlement with students over Jew exclusion zone. It's really hard to believe how far we've come in 1 year. This is just, just think about it. This is only like a year ago this was happening on college campuses, and the government was allowing it, and these campuses were allowing it to happen, and now they're being held to account. But really, it seems like all they have to do is pay a fine. If all you have to do is pay a fine, what's going to stop them from doing it again? The University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, reached a nearly $6.5 million settlement on Tuesday with students and a professor who accused the school of discrimination over the rampant anti-Semitic protests that occurred on campus. The lawsuit was brought in 2024 after the university allegedly failed to shut down a multi-day pro-Palestine encampment, which included a Jew exclusion zone, which prohibited Jewish students from accessing parts of campus. As part of the settlement, UCLA agreed to donate a total of $2.33 million to be split between the university's fund for combating anti-Semitism as well as several Jewish organizations. Consider Now, they're going to consider implementing new policies to protect Jewish students, pay the plaintiffs $50,000 each, and pay $3.6 million for the plaintiffs' legal fees. Anti-Semitism, harassment, and other forms of intimidation are antithetical to our values and have no place in the University of California. University of Board Regents Chair Janet Riley said in a statement announcing the settlement. Why didn't they do that before? Back then, they were all for it. Now, all of a sudden, because they're being, what it is that their funding from the federal government is being withheld unless they do something about it, is the only reason why they're saying they got caught. That's all. As soon as a new administration comes in, soon as the bias continue, they'll go right back to what they were doing before. Trust me. It says that we have been clear about where we have fallen short, and we are committed to doing better moving forward. I'm not buying it. Today's settlement reflects a critically important goal that we share with the plaintiffs, to foster a safe, secure, and inclusive environment for all members of our community and ensure there is no room for anti-Semitism everywhere on campus. Well, then they need to get rid of the professors. Because the problem is the professors that are in the university that are cultivating this garbage that's on campus, and I don't think it's going to go away. I think it's going to get worse. And so, but anyway, that's, we see all this stuff happening. And every week we have more news about Israel and anti-Semitism and all this stuff that the Bible says the world will be like. But, what about technology? We're seeing advancements in technology that are just breathtaking to me. And this one here, Trump announces plan to launch private health tracking system with big tech firms. Well, we just heard from RFK Jr. wanting to put a wearable on everybody within 4 years. It's getting worse, you guys. It's getting worse. The Trump administration announced a new initiative on Wednesday designed to allow Americans to share their medical records across a host of apps and programs managed by private tech companies. A move that proponents say will facilitate easier access to those records across the country's fragmented health care, but the digital privacy experts fear will risk making patients' data less secure. For decades, America's healthcare networks have been overdue for a high-tech upgrade, and that's what we're doing, Donald Trump said during an event announcing the initiative on Wednesday afternoon. Well, here he is in his own words.
But with today's announcement, we take a major step to bring healthcare into the digital age, something that is absolutely vital. You got to do it. Moving from clipboards and fax machines into a new era of convenience, profitability, and speed, and frankly, better health for people. Under the leadership of Administrator Oz, we're officially launching the CMS Digital Health Tech ecosystem to give healthcare providers, insurers, and software companies the tools they need to empower Americans with a 21st century experience on health.
So no more need for those clunky paper private health records. We want everything in the cloud. And so that's what they plan on doing. I don't know about you, but I don't know if I want to have all my data in charge by a TV medical personality, Dr. Oz. Well, here's the ad that they have out for it.
Imagine scanning a QR code at your doctor's office and instantly sharing your medical history, just like when you board a flight. Imagine having an AI assistant that knows your care plan and helps you manage medications with confidence. Picture patients truly at the center of their care, building stronger relationships with providers who can focus on healing instead of on paperwork, freed from the administrative burden that technology should have solved years ago. That's not science fiction. That's what healthcare can and should look like. We're finally at a moment where real progress is possible. CMS, under Administrator Oz's leadership, understands both the urgency and the opportunity. CMS is building the core infrastructure, a national healthcare directory, secure data access, and modernized systems. But the future of healthcare technology can't come only from the government. The apps, services, and tools that make this data useful in people's lives must come from you, the private sector. We're creating the space for new ideas to rise so better solutions can compete, scale, and help real people like Morgan. Step into this space with us. This isn't just a showcase, it's a national sign of acceleration. It's about action. We're asking real companies to make real commitments, to build data sharing networks, to create apps that deliver real health outcomes, to help us kill the clipboard and give people a healthcare system that's smart and secure. Let's stop waiting and let's definitely stop faxing. Let's start building. The right data at the right time can mean the difference between loss and hope. The time is now. Are you in?
Produced by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Nope, I'm not. But remember, we told you guys that health passports were coming, that digital ID is coming, and it doesn't matter if it's the right or left. They'll just call it something else. Convenience and profitability and better health. And then, when the next administration comes in, it's going to be health passports and forced vaccinations or no service unless you get certain state-approved treatments. It's coming, you guys. And don't think that it's not. And so these things are coming at a rapid pace. What about we've got AI and robots. We already showed you last time the AI.gov and the AI initiative that Trump has already proposed. And but what's going on with AI in the world today? We've got this one. Are we creating a digital Frankenstein? AI passes I'm not a robot test. Now, I know people that can't even pass these tests themselves. The stupid little things that they give you to where you got to click and then it shows you some pictures and you got to pick out the pictures. Well, I guess the AIs now can break that. They're smart enough to be able to break it. I know people that have struggled with these things, but and sometimes I can't even understand what it's saying. You can't see the photos really well. They're blurry and you got to click out, anything that has a motorcycle or a bicycle in it, they're kind of stupid, but it shouldn't surprise us that AI can break it. But in what might go down as a pivotal moment in technological history or the beginning of a sci-fi horror film, ChatGPT has done the unthinkable. It passed the I'm not a robot test. Yes, you read that right. A robot just told the world that it isn't a robot, and it got away with it. At first glance, it's an amusing anomaly, an AI clicking the box that's supposed to stop AIs. But under the surface, this is not a joke. It's a warning. The I'm not a robot checkbox is more than just a minor speed bump on your internet browsing journey. It's a symbolic boundary between human and machine, a last-ditch digital defense that quietly asks, are you real? For years, the answer has been easy. Bots couldn't fake humanity well enough to cross that line, but now they can, and that changes everything. So as you can see, and then of course Elon Musk is doubling down on his brain chips. Elon Musk's Neuralink implants brain chip a 9th patient. What Neuralink is doing to bring the Matrix to reality. Don't think that these guys got nefarious plans, right? Elon Musk's ambitious neurotechnology company, Neuralink, has successfully implanted its brain-computer interface chip into a 9th human participant. This marks a major step forward in the mission to connect the human brain directly with digital devices. The announcement, made via Musk's social media platform X, comes just months after the company's first human trial in January of 2024. This was also the first time Neuralink performed 2 surgeries in a single day, showcasing improved efficiency and a growing readiness for broader clinical application. The implanted chip functions by interpreting brain signals and transmitting them to external devices. It allows users to control technology such as computers or smartphones using only their thoughts. While the initial focus is on helping paralyzed individuals regain digital independence, the broader vision is far more ambitious. Musk has long hinted that Neuralink could one day bridge the gap between humans and artificial intelligence, potentially unlocking cognitive abilities that mirror science fiction fantasies, including the immersive mind-machine fusion seen in The Matrix. So, he's not hiding what he wants to do. But we need to tell you that Neuralink is just like a curtain facade that's making you believe that brain chips are something still in the future. There are more advanced technologies that the government has created and other private companies that aren't in the front of the news that they are doing that are much more advanced, and they've already passed human trials and they're already being implanted. So don't think for a minute. But Elon Musk has a much nefarious plan. This is a drone show that they did recently in the Silicon Valley, and it was to the music of Beyonce, but I had to cut the music out so they don't take my video off because of copyright things, because it's Beyonce, but the point is that I want you to watch the symbolism as it goes from the different logos of Tesla. This shows you where Musk is. They don't hide the fact of who they are and what their plans are. So just watch this. So did you see that? It went from the Tesla logo into the Baphomet, then to a pentagram with the Tesla. Instead of Baphomet, it had the Tesla logo in the middle of the pentagram, which is a Wiccan witchcraft. This was all showing you that they don't hide who they are. And the fact that Musk has separated himself from Trump is a good thing. Now, the damage has already been done, probably, most likely, but keep praying. Nothing could be better to keep him away from our president. We got enough bad things like Paula White. We don't need a demon, devil-worshipping, known satanic technocrat with his claws in our president. And so, but I think that's already happened and the damage is done. But what about Meta? What about over at Meta? Mark Zuckerberg, boy, he just doesn't give up, does he? Meta revenues rocket as it bets big on being an AI superpower. AI superpower. It says sales at Mark Zuckerberg's social media giant rise 22% to $47 billion, with profits up to $18 billion as it readies hundreds of billions of dollars for data centers. Meta Platforms surprised Wall Street with stronger than expected quarterly sales as the owner of Facebook and Instagram invests heavily to stay relevant in Silicon Valley's advanced artificial intelligence race. The social media giant posted 22% rise in second quarter revenue to $47.5 billion, well ahead of expectations of $44.8 billion. So they made quite a bit of money. Net income increased by 36% to $18.3 billion, beating analysts' forecasts of $15.1 billion. So billions and billions of dollars just flying around for, all those stupid ads in Facebook. You got to scroll through 10 of them just to get to your next friend, that's the revenue that they're making, right? And of course, they're using AI. That's why if you go into a store and you pick up a box of something on the shelf, all of a sudden you're getting ads for the next 10 years on your Facebook account for it, because the AI is getting smart enough to, even watch you through cameras in the store. And so Meta is racing to catch up with competitors such as Alphabet and Amazon in the race to build out infrastructure and software to power AI applications. In the past 2 months, Meta has pledged hundreds of billions of dollars to build giant AI data centers and invested $14.3 billion for a stake in startup scale AI, poaching its 28-year-old chief, Alexander Wang, to lead a super intelligence lab. Now, on the note of the super intelligence, they're already almost there. I mean, with Grok 4, we've seen all this. And we know that what they're showing us in public is way below what they have in private. So, but this is what he wants to do with this super artificial intelligence. Let's hear his own words.
All right, you ready? Hey, everyone. I want to talk about our new effort, Meta Superintelligence Labs, and our vision to build personal superintelligence for everyone. AI keeps accelerating, and over the past few months, we've begun to see glimpses of AI systems improving themselves. So developing superintelligence is now in sight. But there's this big open question about what we should direct superintelligence towards. A lot has been written about the scientific and economic advances that AI can bring, and I'm really optimistic about this. But I think an even more meaningful impact in our lives is going to come from everyone having a personal superintelligence that helps you achieve your goals, create what you want to see in the world, be a better friend, and grow to become the person that you aspire to be. This vision is different from others in the industry who want to direct AI at automating all of the valuable work. At Meta, we believe in putting the power of superintelligence in people's hands to direct it towards what they value in their own lives. Some of this will be about improving productivity, but a lot of it may be more personal in nature. This is going to be a new era in some ways, but in others, it's just a continuation of historical trends. About 200 years ago, 90% of people were farmers growing food to survive. Today, fewer than 2% grow all of our food. Advances in technology have freed much of humanity to focus less on subsistence and more on the pursuits that we choose. And at each step along the way, most people have decided to use their newfound productivity to spend more time on creativity, culture, relationships, and just enjoying life. And I expect superintelligence to accelerate this trend even more. The intersection of technology and culture is where Meta focuses, and this will only become more important over time. If trends continue, I expect that people will spend less time on productivity software and more time creating and connecting. I think that personal devices like glasses that can see what we see, hear what we hear, and interact with us throughout the day are going to become our main computing devices. I believe deeply in building personal superintelligence for everyone. And at Meta, we have the resources to build the massive infrastructure required and the ability to deliver new technology to billions of people. I'm excited to build this future, and we've got a lot more to come soon.
I don't know about you, but I don't want a personal superintelligence. I don't want these things. And they keep telling us, they're shoving them down our throat, telling us, oh, it's going to be great. Yeah, right. He said, well, glasses. Well, what happens when it's a mark on your hand or a mark on your forehead or a brain chip or, gosh, they keep shoving this stuff down our throat when we don't want it, but I guess people are eating it up. And oh boy, I'm not feeling good about the future. He might, but I'm not. What about this? Here we go. I mean, you didn't think the automated police force wasn't coming. It's already here. Texas schools add attack drones to protect students. Oh, this is it. This is it. The potential future for school safety was displayed last week at Lancaster Middle School. Campus Guardian Angel, an Austin-based tech company, showed how its drones can soar through school halls at 100 miles an hour and respond to active school shooter emergencies in 15 seconds, deploying an array of crisis control tactics. The drones, which come in boxes of 6 for $15,000, relatively cheap, are permanently stored in ceiling-high containers on site, allowing for instantaneous deployment. The drones, of which there might be as many as 90, depending on campus size, start by locating an active shooter in a matter of seconds and can fly through double-pane glass. Once located, the drones play a deafening siren that can launch pepper spray bombs. They're also equipped with speakers that can be used by local law enforcement, and its worst-case scenario, they can be flown directly into the shooter's body at 60 miles an hour. Ultimately, if they're a shooter still intent on murdering children, we can escalate further, said Justin Marston, the CEO of Campus Guardian Angel. When we think of it, it's less militarizing than having police officers carrying guns everywhere. Oh, but we just have some armed drones that can be somebody could hack into, or some nefarious actor can get a hold of and start attacking people, or the police departments start using them on their own citizens. Is that possible? Well, I don't know, but you got to see these things in action.
This is the future of school safety.
Our job is if somebody comes in a school with a gun, we respond in 5 seconds.
This is how it would work. Silent alarms in the school alert the company, then drones strategically placed on campus get deployed, and these drone pilots would navigate remotely from their headquarters in Austin, working in tandem with the school and police, inflicting non-lethal damage to the suspect, or dummy in this demo, with pepper rounds and direct impact.
All these markings, that's from the drone?
Yeah, so the little holes are from drones, and then these different marks here, these are from the pepper rounds bouncing off the guy's chest.
All of it an effort to buy time.
We want to make sure that person is as degraded as we can in a non-lethal manner so that they're unable to continue murdering children.
The program is not active in any schools yet, but the company says it expects to start training programs in 4 Texas schools this year. And Florida Governor Ron DeSantis just approved state funding to bring it to 3 of their school districts.
Do you want these drones in your school?
Absolutely.
John Lux, father and principal of this charter school in Miami, hopes to have the peace of mind.
As a father, you ask me, what am I willing to give up in my child's school for protection? Everything.
The fear is in the data. Since the Columbine High School shooting in 1999, nearly 400,000 students across the U.S. have experienced school gun violence of some kind. Former FBI agent Rob D'Amico says this drone program is promising for school shooting response, but the root of the crisis remains.
It's still not at the point where you're, quote, stopping school shootings. Stopping school shootings is preventing the gun to get into the school, which is proven problematic.
Until then, the members of this unlikely team of drone pilots plucked from around the country say they're ready.
When he told me, hey, we got this opportunity in Texas, it sounds crazy, but it may work, I said, I'm in.
Ready for a day they hope never comes.
I'd be happy to put this system in every school in America and never use it.
A radical response for unthinkable reality in today's America. Risa Para, NBC News, Miami.
Now, there is no possible way that that could ever go wrong, put into the wrong hands. I don't know about you, but I'm not feeling real safe. I feel sorry for these kids. Why don't they just arm the teachers? Why don't they just, there's so many other ways that these things could be stopped. But no, we got to put non-lethal drones. How much would it take to make them lethal? From rubber bullets to real bullets? I mean, there's not much of a bridge from non-lethal to lethal. You know what I mean? So I could just see this going wrong in so many different ways. It's not funny. And then, of course, what about the apostasy front? We continually bring news to you from that front. And, of course, Cherry Van becomes UK's first female archbishop after election in Wales. Now, again, we need to remember that the church is not a democracy. We don't go and ask the members of the church what should be done. No, we go to God's word. God's words tell you who is to be appointed as overseers, who is to be appointed pastors. And it's, first of all, not a woman. And secondly, it's not done by vote. And so you've already got 2 problems there. But of course, this one here, this is The Bishop of Monmouth, Cherry Van, has been elected as the new Archbishop of Wales, becoming UK's first female Archbishop and first LGBTQ plus leader in the Church of Wales, in a symbolic break with recent safeguarding scandals. Vaughan, 66, was chosen Wednesday after an electoral college made up of clergy and lay persons met for 2 days of deliberations at St. Pair's Church near Chepstow. Now, did they even bother to open the Bible to say, oh, are we even being biblical here? No, of course not. Of course not. But here, it even gets worse. Here's a TikTok video of somebody that's spouting lies about homosexuality that you need to be aware of. It's happening, and don't think it's going away just because we have this, two step forward, one step back with the culture of Trump and everything. This stuff is not going away.
The Bible does not condemn LGBTQ plus people. Let's be clear. The authors of the Bible were not writing about loving, consensual LGBTQ plus relationships. The verses that people cite, the clobber verses like Romans 1 or 1 Corinthians 6, they refer to exploitative practices like temple prostitution and pederasty. In fact, the word homosexual did not even appear in any Bible translations until 1946. The authors of our scriptures never saw a same-sex couple in love raising a family. And Jesus never condemned LGBTQ plus people. But what he did say was that we would know his followers by their love, by whom they include, not by whom they exclude. Queer folks are not outside God's love. We are beloved creations of God, just the way we are, queer and all.
That is a lie from the pit of hell. Romans 1 was not just geared towards temple prostitutes. It was geared towards humanity accepting this sort of behavior. And so we would expect to see these things in the last days. But what if you're somebody that's telling the truth? We get upset that if we don't want to speak out against this because we're afraid of pushback and we don't want people to think that we're hateful. And but what about people in other countries that are just trying to go to church on Sunday? Like this story here. Islamic terrorists kill 49 Christians in African church massacre. Eyewitness reveals horrific details. We cry about people saying something bad to us on YouTube, like I talked about a couple weeks ago. But these people here are actually living in a time when Christianity where people are being hunted down and killed just for going to church. It says here, this is a silent slaughter happening, which nobody is discussing, experts say. Dramatic testimony has been revealed exclusively to Fox News Digital, giving new details from the scene of the horrific massacre Sunday by jihadists allied to the Islamic State of at least 49 Christians worshiping in a church in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. 9 of those who were decapitated were children. Several other children, the number isn't clear, were abducted. The attackers were members of the Islamic Allied Democratic Forces, a sanctioned rebel group with roots in Uganda. From survivors in the village, including a shop owner who managed to be an eyewitness and remarkably escaped detection by the attackers, even though his shop was burnt down, and the reported position of the bodies of those hacked to death, a church worker pieced together an account of how the attack happened. So machetes, they come into these Islamic people, that's right, the religion of peace, the one that's trying to take over cities of like New York and in Texas, and even in our community, they're everywhere. The one thing that I will stand up in our community, I will not allow them we will not allow them to take over any neighborhoods or any positions of power in our country, because this is where it will lead. And these people, they went in there with machetes and hacked to death Christians. And that's what they think of you and I. And to think that is real persecution. And, we're afraid of, being, canceled or somebody calling us a name because we're standing up for the truth. People get all worked up over what people say about them online. Why don't we give them 10 minutes in Uganda and try to be a Christian? I think they'll be a little bit thankful. They'd much prefer the mean comments on social media than a machete hacking their children to death. And so we need to be in prayer for the Christians around the world. Now, you don't see anybody marching in the streets. You don't see college campuses freaking out about the 49 Christians who were chopped to death in a church. But that's the way it is. As Amir always says, no Jews, no news. But we were told about these things. We were told in 1 Timothy chapter 4, verses 1 and 2. Now, the Spirit expressly says that in later times, the last days, some will depart from the faith, giving heed to deceiving spirits and doctrines of demons, speaking lies and hypocrisies, having their own conscience seared with a hot iron. Anybody that comes up and says that God loves you just the way that you are and you can stay in your sin, that is a lie from the pit of hell. That is exactly what Paul was referring to here. Those that would say that it's okay to live in sin and to be a Christian, and God loves them just the way that they are, that is a lie from the pit of hell. It is a doctrine of demon, and it is a sign of the last days. And of course, what about, that kind of teaching people soak up? They love it because we're told in 2 Timothy chapter 4, verses 1 through 4, I charge you therefore before God and the Lord Jesus Christ, who will judge the living and the dead at his appearing in his kingdom, preach the word. Be ready in season and out of season, convince, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and teaching. For the time will come, which is here, which we just saw, when they will not endure sound doctrine, but according to their own desires, they want to live as homosexuals because they have itching ears. They will heap up for themselves teachers that will turn their ears away from the truth and turn and be aside to fables. Oh, Jesus never spoke against loving homosexual couples that are raising a family. You have to understand that is a sin. It's always been a sin. It's always been known to be a sin. So that's a fable. And there are people that are turning to it. And of course, as we saw with Israel, again, we see all these signs that we can see the day is at hand. Zechariah 12, 2 and 3, behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of drunkenness to all the surrounding people when they lay siege against Judah and Jerusalem. And it shall happen in that day that I will make Jerusalem a very heavy stone for all people. All who would heave it away will surely be cut into pieces, although all the nations of the earth are gathered against it. Israel is going to eventually have everyone go against her. The United States for right now are on her side, but that will end soon. And we can see the build up to the day because of all of this that's happening. And we know that the day is at hand. The Lord is coming soon. You need to make sure that you're right with him. Don't play around anymore with sin and with all of this stuff. If you're still on the fence and you have not placed your faith and trust in the finished work of Jesus Christ, you need to do it now. We don't want you to have to be the person that's reading an emergency guide to get saved and understanding the horrors that are about ready to happen to you. You can escape that by placing your faith and trust in him now. Why? Save yourself from pain and get saved today. And you can only do that by placing your faith and trust that Jesus died for your sins and that he rose again from the dead. Call out to him today. The Bible says all who call upon the name of the Lord will be saved. Even if you're a homosexual, God will come in and change you. He will give you new desires. He will not leave you that way. I can guarantee it. And so you should do it. And for the rest of us, hey, man, the day's at hand. We need to be about the Father's business. You need to be about making sure, when we have these guides available, get them, put them on your counters, leave them behind for your family members that won't listen right now because they're going to need something to help them when the time comes. And we are offering that to you, and we put a lot of work and prayer into it. So, we believe the day is at hand. We know Jesus is coming again soon. And for some of us, we're glad. You know, we're sick of this old sin-sick world. We're tired of all of this stuff. I don't want to, chip on my brain, and I don't want these, I don't want a barcode and health pass and robots and super intelligent AI as my helpmate. No, I don't want none of that. I want to go be with Jesus. And so many of us are longing for that day. And so, just continue to look up. We know that our redemption draws near. We know the day's at hand. And so may you just continue to look for him and just continue to trust in him and pray and look for opportunities to share. And like I say every time I end, Maranatha. If you have been blessed by this podcast, please subscribe and share to help get the word out in these last days. If you'd like more information or to contact us, please go to calvarysolidground.com. God bless you, and see you next time on Apologetics and Prophecy.